Okay, welcome everyone. For those of you who weren't able to make it to the national session, we're going to kind of discuss what to expect or what are some of the things you need to know, whether this is your first or second or 10th year being the affiliate treasurer. Um, Again, for those who have been treasurers before, I mentioned this for some who were here earlier, the process is going to remain the same, which is good. But one of the big changes will be that there is a new membership group, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But to jump right into it, the first thing is looking at that timeline. So Will, actually, he's already sent it, I believe, this week, sent out the list of what they have at the national office for your membership. That typically comes out late September, early October. So you should have that. If you are the treasurer and you do not have that list, make sure you do get in contact with Will. And Will, if you wouldn't mind dropping your email in the chat. Your responsibilities as it relates to the NEAFCS, to the National Association, obviously you have your own responsibilities within your state affiliate, but with the national office, you're going to be responsible for collecting dues, membership applications, renewal forms, and kind of keeping track of that, whether it's your own Excel form or utilizing the one that Will sends out, have some record keeping for who is renewing members and who is new members. And actually, I will use this opportunity. It's a little sidebar because someone had requested this at the in-person a couple weeks ago. That if you want an example of a template, so this is the one I use in Virginia, and basically you're keeping track of first and last names, county, email address, and then membership. And you can keep that for your own affiliate as well as for any AFCS. There is both an active and affiliate for new and renewing now, so that again, that's something we will discuss. You may want to keep track of that kind of in separate columns, and then keeping track of who is new members there, and then just kind of here if the total gives you an idea of how many for each membership group, and total amount of money that's come in. I like to have it a little color coordinated personally, so I have those who have paid and renewed and sent in renewal forms or new member forms, those who've maybe paid but haven't sent the required membership forms in. Because every once in a while you have somebody that'll just send you a check and it doesn't have any of the membership or renewal forms in there. But then also those who've renewed but not paid. And hopefully this doesn't happen too often, but every once in a while somebody will email you and say, here's my new member form, here's my renewal form, the check's on its way, and then the check never shows up. So whether you like color coordinating or however you like to do it, I would strongly recommend whatever record keeping you're doing, you have some way to distinguish who's paid and has their forms, who has paid and does not have their forms, who has their forms and has not paid, and kind of keeping those three, keeping track of that. You do not have to use this one, but if you are interested in this, I guess I can send it to Will and then we'll send it out to everyone. So just let me know if that's something of interest. But jumping back to the presentation, those dues and membership applications will need to be sent to the national office. The address is there. That has to be sent out by December 31st, not necessarily received by December 31st, right, Will? But yeah, don't leave it to the last second, obviously, if you can. But as long as it's postmarked December 31st, I think you're fine.
Yes, that's correct. As long as it's postmarked by December 31st. And if you want to shoot me an email when your packet goes in the mail to us, you can just shoot me an email that says, everything's in the mail. And if you want to attach your spreadsheet or your Word document or whatever you've got that you've printed a copy of to put in the packet, you can go ahead and give that to me at that time. I save those just in case something happens. That email to us lets us know that you did do everything you could to get it to us on time, which is really important.
Yep. Thanks, Will. Yeah, that's something I'm bad about, but that is a good thing. Good reminders. In addition to sending in the physical packet, make sure you do send that email with membership list as well. And I think that's somewhere on here. Also, if this is a lot of information, you're trying to jot it all down, I will also make sure to send this presentation to Will. So he will send it out all of you so you don't have to write every single piece down. Let's see. So in terms of what forms for which individuals, again, those of you who've done this for a few years probably already know, but those of you who are first year treasurers, just so you know, with each of these links, there's a specific site where you can download the applications. So any new members will have to fill out that application. But not just new members, what is important is that also elapsed membership. So if somebody was a member in 2021, but was not a member this year in 2022, they should be doing the new member application, not trying to do the online renewal form. So that is an important distinction. If somebody has an active membership for multiple years and it's just renewing again and there's no elapsed membership, they should be going through that online renewal form. However, your state affiliate keeps records of that, the state office will get it whenever that's completed. But you need it, or the national office will get that whenever it's completed. But your own state office, figure out what your records retention is for keeping track of those renewal forms. Again, physically send that roster with the payment. It should be roster plus the new member applications with the payment, and also make sure you email Will when that's being sent out. And yeah, I guess I didn't mention on here. I'm just gonna go ahead and edit this now. Send roster with payment and new member applications in physical mailing, as well as emailing that to Will. Any members that are having kind of issues with logging in or doing renewal that don't believe they have lapsed membership, if there's any issues there too, definitely direct them to Will. Renewing members, again, they are required, or at least very, very strongly encouraged, no, required to go ahead and do their online renewal each year. It's a really quick form, and I think a big thing for the national office is just making sure that they have up-to-date information. So if none of that information has changed, it's an incredibly quick process to do, unless you've forgotten your email and then you've forgotten your password and then you have to do that whole forgot password thing. But other than that, it's a very quick process. The reason, or big part of the reason, there's that December 31st deadline, is in order for those members to be eligible for awards, their membership needs to be in, or again, be postmarked by that December 31st date. So that's a big one with awards. Other kind of points throughout the year to be looking for, so they have to have membership before they apply for a proposal for annual session. That's correct, right? Well, and then and this question actually came up with the in-person. I didn't remember the exact date. When do they need to have their membership in, as it applies to voting delegates?
Danielle, you want to address that to make sure we get the right date?
Yeah, so memberships for voting delegate purposes have to be in by August 1st. Every year we will send a list of what our records show as members on July 1 to the regional directors. They send that out, and that kind of 30-day period is for any discrepancies to clean it up. And then by August 1, any new members or anybody who somehow fell off would have to be renewed for a delegate.
Awesome. Thank you, Danielle. And yeah, those are kind of your 3 milestone dates, I guess, for people interested in membership. By December 31st for awards. The call for proposal, I think, closes January 31st usually, so they'll have to have their membership in before then, if they're planning on doing a proposal, and then that August 1st date to count towards the voting delegates. So those are kind of your important dates to hit. Preferably everybody gets it in by December 31st, but we know that doesn't always happen. And speaking of that, members can join throughout the year. It is not prorated though, so if they join in the middle of the year, that is just for the remainder of the calendar year, and they don't get half off for that. In terms of the general timeline of when they're joining, if they are joining before annual session, that'll count for that calendar year. If they're joining after annual session, membership will start right then, but will carry on through the next year.
That's correct. After annual session, we put them in with an expiration date of the following December 31st, because usually by after annual session, we're already right here in the middle of renewals. So there's not really anything going on at the end of the year. So we roll it forward.
All right, perfect. New and renewing members, you'll have access to paid invoice. So particularly if you need that for reimbursement with whether it's state or local funds, things like that, that is available. I have kind of some directions on there, but basically you go to the website, you'll click on member center. If you're not logged in, you'll be asked to log in. You'll click on your profile, and then under profile, you can see view invoices, and you'll be able to access it from there. If you want, at the end of this today, I can give you an example to show you how to run through that process if you need it. But if you have any issues accessing that, also can contact the national office. A notice is going to be sent out to all members if you have an outstanding unpaid invoice as well. If there are any issues or you think there's any discrepancies where you know you sent in a check or you believe you sent in a check, but it says that you don't have paid membership, you're going to be asked to kind of get in touch with your treasurer first, and then your treasurer will help you kind of work through that process and figure out where that issue is coming from. And I said your treasurer, so your members should be going to you all. All right, so membership, and I don't want everybody to panic because I know there's 5 different memberships on here and one with an X through it. For most of you, there'd probably be primarily 1 or 2 membership areas, but I do want to make you aware of all the different types of membership that do exist. So most of your members will be this active membership, and that is for those with a minimum of bachelor's degree working in FCS extension or working as FCS extension professionals. The one difference in this category, slight difference from last year, is there was another category for those basically with the same qualifications but didn't have a state affiliate, and just those 2 types of memberships were merged all into active membership. The new one following the business meeting earlier this month is a new associate category, and those are for FCS extension professionals that do not have a bachelor's degree, so they have less than a bachelor's degree. And they're able to join at $50. But that also comes with some less, so they can't chair committees, can't run for national office positions. I think they can't apply for awards, but can be on awards, if that's correct. And I believe that largely is very close to what student membership can and can't do as well. Speaking of which, there is also student membership that is available as well. So if there are students that are not currently employed by extension, there's a membership group for them. Most, if not all affiliates, you're going to have some life members, and those are those who are active members or the former affiliate membership for at least 5 years and are retired, and they can make a one-time payment of $300 to be life members. So that's another membership area. Just to kind of make you aware of this last one of partner membership, it doesn't really apply to you all, but it's basically those outside of extension that are looking to join the National Association have that option as a partner member. So those employed by land grant or business related to FCS, but are not in extension. And all those different application forms are available at that website that's there, and I think that's the second time it showed up. But to let you know that's available. I also realized I did skip over it, but I saw it in chat now. So there is the category that also from the business meeting was removed is that members in transition. So that's something that formerly was accessible for those who were maybe furloughed or leave of absence or moved from full-time down to part-time at a kind of a reduced cost. That option has been removed. So I think there was only 1 or 2 people that were in that membership area, but you'll have them, 1 person, but you'll have, if that person is in your state, have them get in contact with Will to figure out where they'll be moved to membership wise. All right, some general suggestions. So I'll give you some suggestions that I kind of put together, but I also wanted to open the floor for those who have been treasurers before that had some suggestions to for the rest of the group as well. But make sure whatever your state deadline is to get forms and dues to you is well before the national deadline, because you're really going to want at least a month to kind of catch up on who's late on that, who sent you money but not forms, who sent you forms but not money. So like here in Virginia, I think we tell them November 30th is the deadline to get in dues and things, just so I have a month to kind of figure everything out. It's probably a good idea to send a separate email to last year's members to let them know as the deadline approaches or even passes. Again, to just give you an example, what I do personally, right when that deadline passes for the state, I will keep track of who within the state was a member last year but did not send me a form for this year, and I will send that group a separate group email to let them know, hey, you were a member last year, we didn't see anything from you this year, just wanted to make sure that this wasn't an email that you missed or something along those lines. And we talked about keeping track of both the payment and forms for each member to make sure that you have both of those pieces. Work with your affiliate VP of member resources to really promote some of those benefits you have for membership. That's a really good time when you're sending out reminders for dues of what the value is for joining NEAFCS. And some of those marketing pieces or flyers, that same website where you can download the member applications also has some of those marketing pieces for like return of investment and why you should join NEAFCS. So work with, again, your affiliate VP to get that information out. The last one, some of the smaller affiliates are probably laughing at me as they read this, but if your funds allow for it, consider having scholarships for first-time members. I know here in Virginia, we've done that the last couple of years, and it's been very helpful to get new folks in, particularly because unfortunately at the same time, we have fewer and fewer counties and cities that are willing to reimburse or pay for that. So that's been a helpful way to get people's foot in the door. As I mentioned, it's very brief. That is kind of all I have. But I did also want to open up the floor that if anybody has any additional suggestions throughout this process that have done it before, or obviously if you have any questions, feel free to either unmute or drop that in chat.
I do have one suggestion I would like to make. It's something that has been asked for years and years. And so for anyone who's new, as Glenn mentioned, setting that state deadline ahead of time is super, super helpful. But you do not have to send me a packet that is 100% complete for every person in your state. What I mean is if you've got a handful of folks who have promised you payment but haven't gotten it in, or promised you a renewal and they haven't gotten it in, but you've got, 50 other people who have, please go ahead and send that to me ahead of the deadline. That way, those people who are sent to us postmarked by December 31st will still be eligible for those things that Glenn mentioned, particularly the awards program for 2023, and they won't have any disruption in their membership. That allows you to just have those few sort of problem children that you're shepherding along at the end. You can send me an additional packet when you have those. I've had states send me 5 different packets in 1 year just because they wanted to make sure everybody was in on time. I don't want to cause you any extra work, but just know that that is an option that will help sort of protect the larger bulk of your membership if you are waiting on a few stragglers.
Yep, and that's a good suggestion. And I do feel indirectly targeted because I probably send you 7 different forms throughout the year. Because I'm the same way. Try and wait as long as you can, but you can't wait too long. So get those in, and people start sending them in January and February. They're just going to be a little late, but that's okay. Any other suggestions? I saw somebody unmute.
This is Joy in Tennessee.
Yep, go ahead.
Yes. I'm new to this role. I was actually at the conference, and I've got your presentation that you did that day. It doesn't have on this paperwork about the $50 for the person without the bachelor's degree. Okay. Can you show that on this slide that you got here?
Sure, and I'll send out this version. So I did update this version since we did the treasurer's meeting before the business meeting. I didn't want to include a membership group that might not even be voted on.
So, but we're allowed to do this time.
Yes,
Okay.
Where is it? Sorry if I'm making people dizzy. Here it is.
Okay. I was just making sure about that.
And the same link that you would have gone to download those active member applications. And I checked this morning to make sure it was there. There is an application for associate members on there as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions or suggestions? Jokes that they're just dying to tell?
Hey, Glenn, how are you?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. Some of you may recall that if you were at annual session, we had a question on the floor about what if somebody that has a bachelor's degree joins as an associate member. And yeah, that was troubling to hear that somebody would not be honest about which category of membership that they actually should be joining. So I think Kate Shoemaker, who was our secretary at that time, and I think her answer was good, that it is on the honor system, that we would want our members to be honest about whether or not they have a bachelor's degree or more, and which member category that they should join. If you want to comment, Glenn, I'm done.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point. And we don't, I guess we'll put it this way. We don't expect you to be the police and verify that every single person's eligible for active versus associate. We're professionals, and you will have to trust that the people in your state are being professional about it. All right, if no other thoughts, I also will put my email in chat as well. In case you need to think of a question after this. But otherwise, this recording, the PowerPoint, as well as that example Excel form, I will send all of that to Will, so Will can send it out to all of you. But otherwise, if no other questions or concerns, good luck with everything, and feel free to reach out to us if you have any issues. All righty, let me find where I can hit the pause recording.